Cannabis Connection in the house.
420 boys.
For the Extreme Retro Review for ECW. January 4th, 1997. Another year going into this motherfucker.
Yeah, 1997. We started off with Battle of the Belts was in 93, right?
Yes, January 93. Skipped a couple of months, then proceeded in April with the first show. Extreme Retro Review number 2.
Sheets.
Here we are in Extreme Retro Review number 244. For those who have the coveted,
oh boy,
illustrious, and highly elusive Tape Trader edition, you would know that 57 minutes and 10 seconds is all of your unedited time you need to witness glory for this edition of Hardcore TV. But for the bums who had to walk into 1997 scratching and coughing and their way to watch it via the WWE Network, my partner in crime is going to give you the time and his thoughts, as well as his views of that rendition of the show.
Oh man, what I sit up here and find preposterous is my very first car that I had was a Hctv and shit. It was a hand-me-down, and I was proud of it, you know what I'm saying? I put a lot of work into it, you know what I'm saying? Told all my friends about it before it was even running and shit, because, you know what I'm saying, I worked to bring it back from the dead and shit, you know what I'm saying? And I just had my chest all poked out and shit. And once it was finally ready to drive and shit, first time I crank it up and shit, motherfucking motor went out. And I experienced probably the biggest disappointment in my life and shit, you know what I'm saying? But going forward, I had to downplay that disappointment and shit. That's what you talking about the Tape Trader show is and shit. Like your shit, that shit is like you know it's shit. You know your shit broke down until you went through all this work of recording tapes and shit, you know what I'm saying? Speeding up the EP and shit, trying to adjust the track, try to edit out the fucked up tracking and shit, you know what I'm saying? Try to get it just right so you could copy it for your little dickhead dweeby friends and shit. You know what I'm saying? And in the meanwhile, you're dying inside because you know that life has to be better. And I got news for you folks. Life can be better for only $9.99 a month. Because see, as a kid, I was driving Hctv and shit and praying my shit didn't break down. And then one day, I became a big boy and I got something reliable and dependable, and that's something that I know will crank up and get me from A to B. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the WWE Network. And for the January 2nd, 1997 edition of Hardcore TV, the time was 45 minutes and 56 seconds. Overall, I thought it was a decent show. Spoiler alert, we do get to see Gary get thrown down again by the Halo, which will forever be LOL, to quote, to borrow from the Fuge and shit. I thought it had some, for a show that was decent and shit, I thought it had some okay story progression as well. So
we start with the whole BWO vignette from Saturnalia Eve, 1996. Stevie Richards and the Blue Meanie all throughout New York City. It is completely awful. Bruh. And we go into the thing.
This shit was goofy.
We got Joey at the best highlighting the Eliminators tag title win at Middletown, New York at a spot show. It takes us back to the first four-way dance where the Gangsters won the title at The Doctor Is In, recounted by us in Extreme Retro Review number 211.
Fuck y'all.
Joey details the title reign and segues to the finish of the Middletown match. Total elimination on Mustafa for the win. Mustafa grabs the belts from Pee Wee because he ain't giving them up. New Jack talks them down and they relent. Eliminators then hug it out. I give it a dud. Yeah. Your take.
Oh man, I'm a sucker for the total elimination, of course, and props to Mustafa for not wanting to give the belts up and shit. I thought that was a nice little change of pace and shit. And he wanted no parts of because once they finally did hand the belts to the eliminators try to raise their hands and shit and have a group arm race thing, and Mustafa wanted no parts of that and shit, so he my nigga for that.
We have an ECW home video spot for the November to Remember 1996.
Oh yeah, we saw that one.
Recounted by us, Extreme Retro Review number 231.
Yeah, fuck you motherfuckers.
We have bumpers for January 10th, January 11th, a hardcore hotline shield featuring a Francine interview, raw results up to the minute details of the upcoming pay-per-view. Moving on. Joey Shields January 10th and January 11th and notes a time change to those watching in Philly. January 11th is at the ECW Arena, and there's also shows on January 17th and the 18th. Moving on.
Yeah.
We have a ECW home video spot for Extreme Warfare Volume 1. Recounted by us in Extreme Retro Review number 242.
You're welcome.
We have an Eliminators promo. It's a side-by-side shot.
Yeah, I like this part.
Perry Saturn's in front of John Cronus, and he's talking about how they're the best in the world and masters of the greatest tag team finishing move, the total elimination.
That's right.
Saturn does all the talking, and on the right, it's just complete carnage. Yeah. Taco and Hartgood get total elimination. They've eliminated the Lunkheads, Cactus Jack and Mikey Wickflip, Gary and Anthony, 911 and Rey Mysterio Jr., who went to the Terry Funk School of taking tag team finishers because he's terrible. The Samoan Dweebs, RVD Sabu, Doc and Gordy, and yes, even the Gangsters. Saturn then puts over the Gangsters and then puts over total elimination as a great move.
Oh man.
HW take.
Oh man, I loved every bit of it. Cause as I just said, I love the total elimination and shit. It actually made what Saturn was talking about seem even more important, and it's true. And poor Spike Dudley, because he looked like he just had stepped into the ring for the first time and shit, like mass transit or something.
We have January 10th, January 11th bumpers, the official Taz t-shirt spot, the Sandman t-shirt, and coming soon, the 1996 and 1997 Pitbull t-shirts. Moving on.
So, will it be, will Gary have the halo?
I think you called him Terrence and Phillip. We have a replay of Louis the Loser versus the Undead Bulldozer Brian Lee, showing the finish from their match Holiday Hell 1996, recounted by us Extreme Retro Review number 236.
Yeah, I guess you're welcome.
I love the classic heel beatdown. Moving on. Back with Joey at the Nest, speculating about a new triple threat. Is the Undead Bulldozer still with Raven? Is Cuck in the group? Is there a new triple threat? Louis the Loser doesn't care, although he should, because he keeps getting his ass kicked by the same three people every show. He is a goof.
But look at him.
New goof too.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Joey takes it to a recent fan cam match that he called a purist dream.
who are these purists that are just clamoring for a 1997 Rob Van Dam and any version of Chris Candido?
They start off by doing the Eddie and Shooter Cirque du Soleil exchange, but it's at 3/4 speed. They have a clipped match to shit that you would think they would do in a match. So anything you think that RVD would do in a match, he did. Everything you think that Cuck Candido would do in a match, he did. Reversals, aerial stuff. Thought I heard a boring chant.
Yeah.
It's at 3/4 speed. It might as well be boring. RVD brings in a chair. Hideous shot by Cuck, which is no-sold into a Van Daminator that wipes out Cuck and Pee-wee. Franchise come down. He gifts Cuck the chain. KO's RVD. Louis comes down, and he's in a ref shirt. He does twin magic with Pee-wee. Cuck turns around, goes into shock, gets the DVD. He is an idiot heel. RVD for the immediate pin. All that work for a dud. HW take.
There was no gravitas to this match. So, there was just, nothing felt important about it at all. And so that it was just overall very boring.
A purist dream. Yeah. That is new speak for boring.
Yeah, that shit was boring as fuck. And, plus I had no expectations because
what are they fighting for?
I had at no point did I ever say, you know what, Rob Van Dam and Cuck Candido should really, they should really. I would love to see them wrestle and shit.
We have January 11th bumpers. Taz, Sandman, and ECFNW t-shirt spot. We have another home video spot for the November to Remember 1996 recounted by us Extreme Retro Review number 231. We have January 17th and 18th spots, and it's all set to What You're Gonna Do by Shabba Ranks featuring Queen Latifah. Moving on. We have an ECW home video spot for Extreme Warfare Volume 2. Recounted by us, Extreme Retro Review number 243.
You're welcome, folks.
Back with Joey at the Nest, putting over RVD's 1996 year in ECW, beating everyone he faced except for Taz. They met at the November to Remember 1996 during the end of the three-way dance. They met in the ring at Holiday Hell 1996. Taz won. RVD left in a stretcher. Taz left with a black eye and some other shit, but is he not letting on how hurt he is? Speculation is that RVD hurt him to the point where he can't compete. In Middletown, New York, Taz refused to enter the ring for the King of the Hill Battle Royal because he could not be first, so he didn't want to enter at all. The whole time he was favoring his left arm. He called out Sabu. Sabu came out and got total elimination from the tag champ. They beat up Sabu while Taz did nothing but talk shit. Even Fonzie told security to watch his left shoulder. This may be a cover-up, so cameras caught up to Taz to hear what he has to say. HW, your take.
Very, very clever. I like the subtle nuance that is going into what appears to be either a deception of some sort. Either Taz wants people to think he's hurt and, said he's playing a big mind game, or he's really hurt and he's trying not to let on and shit. But he's a little sloppy with, keeping it on the low and shit. But either way, I'm feeling it. So I like the subtlety that's going into this shit.
So we go to a Taz promo. He's on his way to his whip. He's loading the car. He's putting over the RVD match. Talking about it's the Extreme Grappler versus the Extreme Striker. But RVD had to use a chair to gain the advantage. He choked him out of respect. But the next time that they face, he's going to teach him some disrespect. Taz takes off his glasses, and he's got a black eye. And there's no Fonzie in this promo. HW take.
Taz does a pretty convincing job at playing a tough guy and shit. I would give him that, like, just on TV, especially like when he's by himself and there's no other normal sized dudes around and shit to tower over him. He seems very menacing and very convincing that he'll fuck you up and shit. And he'll probably fuck a lot of people up his size too and shit. I don't want to take that away from him and shit. But he's very convincing though. So I tip my hat to Taz on that promo there.
We have Joe Gertner with Hype Central. He buries Joey Styles and puts himself over.
Good job.
January 10th, January 11th, we have Taz, Sandman, and ECW It's Not For Everyone t-shirts. We have a BWO t-shirt spot January 17th and the 18th.
Buy the shirt.
January 31st is the Winter Blowout 1997. And we also end the spot with a catalog shield. Moving on. Joey's back at the nest with a special segment. Desperado comes in.
God. Why?
And 20 years ago, in Ontario, Canada, Terry Funk lost the NWA title to Harley Race.
Big freaking deal.
On January 11th, 1997, the living legend, Terry Funk, returns to the ECW arena to start his quest for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. It's going to be Terry Funk versus the undead bulldozer, Brian Lee.
This is when the show started to go downhill for me because I was, you know what I'm saying, I was just rolling with it and, you know, Taz had just got done doing this thing and shit, so I didn't have all the Hype Central bullshit. So, you know what I'm saying, it flowed right into Joey talking about this and shit and talking about, I felt like I was getting Sir Alvin when he mentioned that Terry Funk was coming back. I started dry coughing, my forehead started getting hot. I feel better now, so you know what I'm saying, that just Terry Funk effect, I guess. Nobody freak out. But, yeah, that's terrible news.
I just want to note that it's January 1997 in ECW, and we're still selling the Brian Pillman t-shirt. Moving on.
Oh, man, they're going to sell every last t-shirt.
We have a t-shirt spot from Raven. Moving on. We have a Sabu signature t-shirt, January 10th and 11th. ECW moves to Tuesday nights at 11 p.m. starting next week on Sports Channel Philly. Moving on. We have a Franchise and Francine promo. 1996 was a vintage year for the franchise. He lost some, but he won most. He faced them all, Gary and Anthony, the living legend Terry Funk. The list goes on. And as 1997 comes up, the Putz is at the head of the pack. Tommy Dreamer is jealous because he carries 16 pounds of gold. And he can't have it because it's his belt. It's his belt. It's his belt. Just like Francine, who he cannot have either. They cackle. I cackle. It was awesome. HW take.
Shane is in fucking rare form. He's an awesome bad guy. I can't believe he didn't fucking work out at WWF and shit, cause he's killing this shit.
Joey calls Franchise an impact player of 1996 ECW. First beating Too Cold Scorpio for the TV belt at a matter of respect recounted by us, Extreme Retro Review number 195. At Fight the Power, after beating several jobbers, he lost the TV belt to Anthony, recounted by us, Extreme Retro Review number 199.
You're welcome.
Unbeknownst to most, Franny was already fucking Franchise, only to be revealed at Heatwave 1996, recounted by us, Extreme Retro Review number 207.
You're definitely welcome, and that's how you do it. Keep that shit on the low.
In the famous four-way dance, they replay the match from the Francine turn. This is the moment where Shane brought back the Anti-Monitor. HWT.
This is the shit that made the show for me, because I could watch Shane all day. I can watch Anti-Monitor Shane 3 times a day. Or 3 days in a row, rather, you know what I'm talking about. And just shit, fucking awesome. What I don't at a loss for words.
Joey then talks about the neutering of the pit bulls by franchise. He broke Gary's neck. He tried to break Anthony's neck, but shook Gary up by the halo at Ultimate Jeopardy, a.k.a. Stipomania 1996, recounted by us in Extreme Retro Review number 223.
Oh, shit, you're welcome and my personal pleasure.
And that explains the Tommy Dreamer and Shane Douglas feud, because Tommy Dreamer is a friend of the Pit Bulls, and after he fucked up Gary, fucked up Anthony, and fucked up Gary again, Tommy Dreamer in Captain Save-A-Ho mode tried to get at Shane Douglas and his TV title.
Oh man, Gary must be a bitch then if he needs saving by Captain Save-A-Ho, because I guess that's what a female dog is, isn't it?
We have upcoming shows for January 10th, 11th, 17th, and 18th. Moving on. Extreme Warfare Volume 2. Recounted by us, Extreme Retro Review number 243, is featuring the Kimono Wanalea striptease. Oh my God. How can you not tell?
That's as you like to call her, the lady boy.
We have t-shirt spots for the BWO, ECF&W, the Sabu signature t-shirt, and also ECW Home Video is selling November to Remember 1996, recounted by us in Extreme Retro Review number 231.
Oh, you're fucking welcome.
It was all set to some song that I couldn't Shazam. So one show into 1997, you know I had to hit up the Street Smart Audio name game champion, Mad Jack Slater.
That don't even sound right.
I asked him to watch the January 4th, 1997 show. Let me know what song this was, and you know what happened.
He didn't watch the fucking show.
He was unable to watch the show.
And this is the guy you give your name game championship to, in an effort to keep away from me. You know what? That is dirty, maniacal. Fucking shows.
Main event time. Mikey Wickflip going up against the ECW World Heavyweight Champion Raven with Peaches in his corner. Gross. Peaches is gross with her heroin shit. They lock up and the BWO arrive. Now, this is the story that they're telling with the BWO. The fans chanting BWO is throwing Raven off during the match.
It was a raucous BWO chant that I heard.
I want to know if you saw any fans chanting BWO.
I rewinded that thing on WWE's terrible graphic user interface 3 times, because I hate rewinding or fast forwarding anything on that thing, just to be at 1,000. At least on the PlayStation 4 is how I watch it. But because it sounded so fucking loud, so I'm like, wait a minute, the crowd looked like it's just straight chilling and shit. Then it cut to another part of the crowd that was chilling, so. And I hear BWO, so I'm rewinding it and shit, praying that the motherfucker don't crash and shit. And the crowd was going mild. Like their lips, nobody's lips was going BWO, none of that.
Crowd sweetening at its finest, television programming for your leisure.
Yeah. I like that. No, that's just gross right there.
I know I'm prone to hyperbole. I know this. But come on. As for the match, clip to the finish, Mikey finally back from his shoulder injury. I don't know. He hurt his knee after jobbing to the DDT. Joey says he should have never been in the match in the first place. I concur. Dud for the match. Yeah. HW take.
Definitely a dud, because I didn't get the point of anything. Like, Like the little bits that they showed was pointless, and then then they clip to the finish. Mikey gets DDT'd, and then immediately grabs his knee and shit. Like I don't understand. And then motherfucker was running the ropes with no problem afterwards. And like none of it made no sense to me.
Post-match, Peaches rakes the eyes. LOL. Sandman runs in, gets beat up by Raven and caned by Peaches. Mikey then gets beat up again. Hack gets DDT'd again. Raven breaks the cane and gets DDT'd. Hack picks up the broken cane, looks at the belt, drops the broken cane, and leaves with Raven's ECW World Heavyweight title. Thin. Overall, clippy and shilly as shit. What a way to start off 1997. I'm going to recount 1994 Hollywood as he rated the first episode of 1994 ECW T for Trash. Shout out to 1994 Hollywood.
You become great.
In a few days, we're coming right back at you with the January 9th edition of ECW Hardcore TV. We out. Peace.
Peace.